Very pretty. Good. How are you doing?
Good. I had to go buy a new one of these because I think I left it here and I don't know what happened to it.
Oh. Yeah. I would ask Katie.
I think this is part of it.
Bayfield.
Yeah, I bet it'll probably show up. I think either.
Muted to
Yeah.
So it's too late now. I already bought it.
Masking?
I
Are you
stopped just in
masking?
time.
Are you afraid of us?
Yeah, so I worked for the city of Durango,
Would you like me to send a mask up where my husband had COVID?
but I've lived here for 15.
If I get it a third time, it would be friggin'.
I'm not just doing it for me. It's
Staff report regarding Bayfield.
Yes.
hot in here though.
Yep, and my update on the summary. Those are the 2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's nice. Closer.
You know, you get to like the very first sentence and you go, I don't even want to read it.
Okay.
Am I the only one? It feels that way. It's like, okay.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
They didn't, so I went ahead. I went to lunch hour and got a job.
Oh, she's mad that they're providing a park?
I was very confused by the whole situation.
Carter said, let me talk to Nick, he was the top guy, and he said, you come back in and I'll talk to you in the morning. Of course, I gave to him, I said, okay.
Or
Back in, he said, okay. Nick says, we'll transfer it to you, Mr. the raise.
if they were completely independent alone.
So I worked down there for
What was
several.
the bank?
It was Turner Industrial
Isn't that
Bank.
because they knocked right into it?
Years
No,
ago.
it was,
And then it was the
the other
National
family.
State Bank down there.
But
they
it's,
sold it.
But I worked at
But
the
it's
bank
still-
in Durango.
that's where the true issue to me lies.
So did you work in the
be mad at
building, the Bruce Bank building?
Around the corner.
Well,
That's what it is. Clearly. Not my, yeah, not my problem.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it, I was glad to get out of the banking. I was glad as postmaster. But I worked at the bank and for the gas company and the post office. Part-time for all three jobs for a long time before the post office needed somebody full-time.
Yeah.
But they never called me from the bank in Durango if the roads were bad. Because I told them I would not drive down the bad roads.
Yeah.
But they paid me more then, they didn't want to work full-time. Well, there's something wrong with this picture.
No, it's taken me, you know, the city stays open, so I've had some days where it's taken me like an hour and a half just to get in town. Back
Well,
roads.
the traffic's a lot worse than it was then. I know I used to carpool and over with another guy, and he wasn't a talker. So I could rush down in the cars were ready. If we met in that was a miracle.
Wow.
And now, that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it's really grown.
So yeah, I'm thankful to be here. And I have a daughter.
Yeah.
So I get to be
I'm
close
okay
to
with
her.
riding up with
I
someone and
care
back.
for my parents.
Yeah, so
I
then,
moved him here 3.5 years ago from California because my dad's sick. So I helped them out. Yeah, so they've found a place where I live in Mesa Meadows.
Oh, just above our ranch.
Yeah.
Lunches
are the best.
Yeah.
I was one of the first. I was in the first phase.
Oh, okay.
Really?
We bought
Okay.
in
They're
April
very good and you get to
07.
mingle with people that you
Yeah.
We've seen
don't
a lot
normally get to
change
mingle with when you're
in
doing
that
all the
neighborhood.
classes.
And then
Right.
my parents were able to find a house just across the street and a couple down, so I
Try
could
and
be there.
restrain
in just
ourselves.
a minute if I had to.
You just
So,
can't,
yeah,
right,
it's
right,
good.
right.
So then
It's
just
not with the
being
town
down
cat.
Right. in Bayfield, I'm just close by or something.
Close to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is your house?
She's gonna be 11.
She likes school.
She does, so we've been homeschooling for the last 2 years.
Right.
Working.
Yeah, if you have to submit receipts though,
I know my
we can't have the bar tab on it.
Post these around the town.
a couple of them on the ranch
Somebody
to
should blast it on the Facebook.
come in and teach.
Right?
Whatever.
Yeah, and they're being in school. And they said the first mention was sex
Yeah, that other packet.
We're looking at the school.
Figuring Nicole will explain it a little
Yeah, I think
on the
so.
east intersection.
Yeah, we pulled her out for COVID.
I was thinking.
Because we couldn't, my dad's on hospice, and so we couldn't quarantine at that time, or we lose his
How are you
health.
allowed to know?
And so we were like, okay, we'll keep her home. And my husband just working at home, so he could, he receives it. She does it through a video program. last year she wanted to do it again because she liked it. So we're like, well, my husband's at home, she can do that. So I go home for lunch and I get to see both of them. We go for walks.
Do you know, I've talked to more people than homeschooling their children anymore. And I think a lot of them started because they found how to move so well. And they were,
Yeah, so that's why I was,
I mean, milk didn't hurt you.
Oh.
They're just not.
Yeah, yeah, they keep you
Did you get sick or was he?
And she's doing really well. She just did the, you have to do standardized testing still, so she just did hers. She tested like math and spelling are her other ones, and she tested at grade, and like her language and reading and stuff, she was testing at 10th and 11th grade. She's in 5th grade. And I'm like, so something's working.
Much better.
I was like, you realize your hair is as long as mine.
And they don't even do it for a day or so. Like they do.
She's done it usually.
I'm looking at his face.
So she enjoys it. She likes it because she gets to move at her own pace. She's done early. She's not kind of waiting, and so she likes that. And then we try and get her some after-school stuff, so that she's still around.
Well, that's good. Well, I know that other kids.
guys all ready?
They can participate in sports,
Yeah.
which I was thankful for, because they needed that. They needed socialization.
And she's not a sports kid, but she does something at church after school. She's
All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order, dated June 7th, 2022. It is now 6:31. Roll call.
Trustee Yaw.
Here.
Trustee Dallison.
Here.
Trustee Harts.
Here.
Trustee Luke. Trustee Moreland.
here,
Trustee Cesaro. Here. And Mayor Tarkington.
Here.
6 present, 1 absent.
All right, would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, does the board have any conflicts of interest to announce at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to general public input. If anybody from the audience would like to address the board, please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. Yes.
Just for the record, we know who you are.
Oh, right now?
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Your mom. Oh, shoot. Well, you have more.
Okay, general comment. So, first of all, it occurred to me, cats occupied the picture. I should just be able to get them. But anyways, first off, it occurred to me that I need to give kudos to our town and its actions to take care of business. I'd like to acknowledge the efforts of the Public Works Department for staying on top of the priorities. I see you guys all over town all the time doing good work, and for instance, my road gets maintained, and the last big blow, trees came down, and in a reasonable amount of time, the trees were gone, and so I recognize you guys doing good work, so keep it up. Let's see, what else do I have that I can speak of? Oh, yes. The first thing I want to address about the comprehensive joint meeting that came to my attention is that there was a comment in there about water efficiency and water treatment being addressed during a drought. And I'd like to state that we should not be looking at reactive measures. We should be looking at proactive measures. So, you know, I take exception to the word drought in that it should be a proactive. And so I'd like to correct that statement. Drought conditions define a reactive response, building the water element into the town comp plan, land use, building codes is proactive in sustaining, envision and sustaining our community, and that can avoid insurmountable crises when they come. And as an example of how to be visionary, forward-thinking, City of Westminster's vision and proactive results. Over the past 2 decades, Westminster's water service population increased by nearly 13,000 residents, and the city added almost 130 new commercial accounts. Yet total water demands actually declined by more than 2,000 acre-feet. An acre-foot is the amount of water needed to cover an acre of land in water or 325,000 plus gallons of water. An average family of 4 in Westminster would use about a third acre-foot of water over the course of a year. The overall declining trend in the water used is principally the result of reductions in water use from single-family residents, a gradual decrease in indoor use in particular. These consistent reductions in water use as each existing home in Westminster become more efficient, more than offset the increase in water demand from new residents and businesses over the past decade. This is what I'm talking about when I say smart growth. How do we be proactive? I'm asking the board and the planning commission to take on a visionary role with our community. We can do this. So that will be it for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good point here. One of my questions or comments tonight is about questions.
Name and address, please. Sorry.
Brian Blanchard, 627 Louisiana Drive.
Thank you.
At the meeting on the 31st, which was a good thing, good to see everybody at least sitting down and talking. But a point came up about how do we get the public involved. I work on it all the time. I know Kat works on it all the time. My wife works on it all the time. And there's a few of us that are involved a little bit more than we used to be. But how do you get new people and bodies in the room and all of that? I think part of that is just the format that the town or towns use, which is parliamentary in nature. And that is not user-friendly for the public. And you may or may not know that, you may or may not agree with it, but it's hard to ask a question. I can't come here and ask a direct question and expect an answer. You can make a comment about something, but that's way different than asking a question and getting some sort of response now. I know you're trying to follow up with what questions do arise. I don't know how well that works, and there's a lag time there for the public. So I think it's frustrating for a lot of public people that come and have an inclination to participate somehow, but they're almost shut down because of the way the process is set up. So I think unless we can get to a situation where maybe with the new work group or with Nicole here now or some way, that we get questions from the public that are addressed in a timely manner. Questions come in, people can show up, and there's 5 minutes or 10 minutes of question and actual answer. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. That would be a legal question, I guess. But I would encourage you to think about that. I think you'll get more participation from people that will get some sort of answer to their questions in a timely manner. The only other thing I have is the meeting on the 31st was a start. I don't know how many of those you've had in the past. I don't know how many you're going to have going forward, what the timetable is. But I would encourage you to try to do another meeting as soon as possible to actually enact something. Look at dark skies or sidewalks or collateral money that needs to be put up by developers or parks, open space. I would encourage you sooner than later to get into the enacting some of these things into the land use code and the comp plan. Because developments are coming, I always say this, and they are, and if we let one developer off the hook because you let a developer previously off the hook, it's a bad precedent to start. And we've already headed down that path. We need to stop that. We need hard codes and rules that they understand and they will participate. They're not going to walk from the projects. They will put their money up, and it's up to us and you as our trustees to remember our new motto: is it good for the town and is it good for the citizens? That's it. If something comes before you to look at or vote on, is it good for the town? Is it good for the citizens? Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else in the audience? I see we have quite a few people on Zoom as well. Do we have anybody on Zoom that would like to participate in public input? All right. Seeing none, we will move on. Did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
Did everybody get a chance to review the May 17th, 2022 minutes?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes dated May 17th, 2022.
I second that.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Ah.
Abstain.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
5 in favor, 1 abstain.
All right, moving on to our department reports. We have our Public Works Director, Jeremy. Would you like to give the highlights of your report?
Yeah, good evening, Mayor, trustees. A couple things I'd like to point out. We did finish up the water meter relocation project for this year. We were able to move 10 more meters successfully from underneath residences. We'll continue on. We got about 24 left, 23, 24. I don't know the exact number. So we were also able to assist a neighboring water district. We signed up during the beginning of COVID for COWARN, which is the Colorado Water Wastewater Agency Response Network. It's to share operators' resources. So we did provide a loaner pump to Lake Durango Water Authority, and was able to get their system back up and running. They returned it last Tuesday. Anyway, the sewer system, we've got our camera inspection started Monday. That's going to be continuing for 4 weeks to do 23 miles of pipe. They're going to camera inspect, and we had a few sewer backups we were able to clear without incident. The last thing, I guess, for the public works report is we do have another A certified water treatment operator and a B certified water treatment operator. So that's a really big deal in staffing. It gives us some redundancy for compliant plant operations. And we did have our Sursa energy audit. You can see our scores doubled. We went from 45 to 74 in workers' comp and 58 to 80 in property casualty. So that's a huge gain, and we hope to continue that trend.
Nice job.
Very nice.
Amazing.
You got any questions?
Does the board have any questions?
No.
Thank you.
I think you can stay up here for your water wastewater plant efficiency assessment.
So, energy assessment is a free service provided by Colorado Rural Water Association with membership. And so they were down recently, they took all the power bills from the wastewater plant, the water plant, went through, took industry standards for some of the pump horsepower motors and things like that, and came up with this report that you guys see in your packet. So if you focus on the wastewater report, there wasn't a whole lot of energy savings that we're not already providing some of those efficiencies, variable frequency drives. There's about $2,000 for some green energy that they're proposing for some solar panels. You'll see at the end of the report. So that wasn't, a huge offset in savings. The water treatment plant was. So they're proposing in there for industry standards a $54,000 power budget for the size of our pumps, so 60 horsepower high service pumps in there. And so we're currently operating that plant for an average of $35,000 a year, which is $20,000 less than an audit in savings and efficiency. So that's basically through operations and having certified and qualified operators in the plants on a regular basis and being able to utilize those smaller pumps over time and saving us those energy costs. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you guys have any in regards.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Sergeant Abdallah, do you have going to share some information with the board?
Good evening. So basically, a couple of things that were on the reports. We have 2 new hires starting in testing for on the 15th of this month, which is kind of down from what we're normally getting. We usually get between 8 and 10 applicants, and we've only got 4. I think that's probably following the trend of employment across the whole country, unfortunately. Something that we're actually talking about in the office is implementing more of a recruiting program. I can start earlier in the academy cycle to get our department in the academy to where we can actually start contacting people that maybe not be getting or not hired yet or don't have any applications yet. Something we haven't done in the past. So that's something that we're going to be moving forward with, hopefully. We actually got someone that got to be put on the juvenile advisory committee for the state, which we haven't done before either. And what that does is basically gets a member of the marshal's office into a committee that is run by all the other law enforcement agencies, the DA's office, Access Mental Health, and they get to weigh in and actually help implement plans and directions towards how they handle juveniles and policies and changes and what's working and what's not. So that's a pretty awesome step for us to have that input there. Calls of service for the month have started to go up. It's the summer, so through the month of May, we've already hit 351 calls of service. None of those are violent, which is knock on wood, which is good. But we're getting a lot of 911 calls. And if you guys haven't noticed any updates on your phones, there's a rapid SOS update on your phones that is designed if it falls, it automatically calls 911. So there's something to look into your phone. I don't know a whole lot about it, but we're getting a lot of missed calls.
Oh, man.
That's up a lot. And for citations, they're going up to almost 60 for the month, which is also the increase in summer and tourism. So we're going to see that probably increase a little bit. So that's really everything I got at this point. Is there any questions?
I think it's interesting that the May citations for speeding are like at 32, and yet everywhere I go, that's all I see is people speeding through town.
It's probably because the school was still in the school zones.
I see it in the business
Yeah.
park in my street, yeah.
But
that's-
they watch it a little harder in the school zones, I think,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I mean, the speeding citations, I saw that number that Mars and McIntyre put out, 32, but they're also spread out throughout other different categories too, and then after out. But yeah, they're gonna go up. I mean, now that school's out and there's a whole lot of kids driving.
I see people going through the business park, I swear some of them are doing 60.
Jeez.
Somebody almost didn't make the corner one day when I was out over there.
It's definitely something we're having to refocus. It's manpower. I mean, we're trying to really do our best at what we have, and I think we talk about the stop sign a lot with Ms. Ludwig, and so, yeah, we're, hopefully with these new hires, we'll be able to get a couple more people on top of it.
I'm just curious, the new hires, are they prior experience, or are we hiring straight out of the?
That's a great question. We have actually, one of the applicants is currently a law enforcement officer in Cortez. He actually tested with us 3 or 4 years ago, and went a different route. And then we have another female officer or applicant that's testing with us that is not pro-certified. So we got some good possibilities there.
Cool.
Very excited.
Good, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Nicole, you're up.
All right, good evening. So I did put together a summary of last week's work session. If you have any comments or questions on that, just let me know and I can make some adjustments. But I wanted to get that out to everybody. I'll be providing that to the Planning Commission at next week's meeting as well. And just a couple other quick updates. Taking Mr. Blanchard's advice on when you have a question, trying to answer it. But for the land use code updates that we presented last week, we are moving forward to have more further discussions with the Planning Commission next week on some of those items, in hopes to have some text amendments in front of them in July, their meeting in July, and then in front of you in July. So moving forward on some of those text amendments. Some of them, like the oil and gas, is going to be a little bit longer process because we're waiting to get the county's draft. So there's a few that are going to take a little bit more staff analysis and time, but the ones that are simpler to handle, we're going to be moving forward in the process, as well as putting together our initial comprehensive plan update flyer that we want to get on the website. I'll make sure I provide it to all the board of trustees and planning commissioners to get out there, just kind of walking the community through, we're starting this process, as well as how you can apply for the working group. And then also, I will be at the first block party next week with a booth, just kind of starting that discussion with the community, and hopefully giving out those applications as well, or the information so people are interested in applying, and maybe having some minor questions at that first block party, just to get people thinking about Bayfield in the future. So just a couple quick items, but just wanted to know where we are moving forward with some of those discussions that we had last week, that we can move forward with right now.
Does the board have any questions for Nicole?
No, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Becky, Parks and Rec, you have?
Oh, surprise. Well, good evening. I guess I didn't know I was standing up here tonight, but as you guys have already probably seen in your packet, I have resigned from my position.
Boo.
I'll be working through July 8th. It's probably one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. I have decided to take a leap and be a mom, stay-at-home mom for a while. But I have been here as of 10 years on Saturday.
Oh, my goodness.
So, it's been a great 10 years. I love this place, I love all the coworkers. Katie has been a great leader and mentor for us in the last couple of years. I do wish that she showed up a little earlier, because she's been fabulous. So, just so you guys know, July 8th, I will be working through the 4th of July, get you guys through that, and then I'm moving on. So, that's all, and I hope you guys do find someone that can come on and conquer that GoCo grant so we can get those parks, so.
Oh, thank you, Becky.
Thank you for everything, Becky.
Yes.
Why are you clapping? She's leaving us.
Does the board have any other Parks and Rec related questions for Becky? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our financial items. Do we have any general public input pertaining to items 4A through E on the agenda? Seeing none, I will move on to,
Maybe one?
what? Okay,
Make sure A through E is what I want to meet.
on financial items.
Right.
Okay,
Come on up.
Some comments.
yes.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I want
Does it pertain to financial items?
to. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank God. So, I read that efficiency energy assessment, and I was quite impressed with it. And I think it's got some excellent improvement recommendations. And I realize that budgeting is a concern, but there's $4 billion available from the USDA that we might be able to jump on to take advantage of for any water improvements or water sustainability opportunities. So, I'll do a little research on my end, but I'd sure like to know what we can ask for, what we can try to get. $4 billion is a lot of money, and so I think we're always looking for money and a better way to build our community. So I like that efficiency energy assessment. And then I would have a question that's more, doesn't have to be answered right now, but I also like to wonder if there isn't a way to currently install little solar panels on all our meters so our meters run even more efficient for our water metering. So there's that. And then, I don't know if this belongs, but I'm gonna just say it. So the senior center IGA,
We'll-
I think that's.
That will be
We'll get, that's next on
Can
the,
I speak to that?
next on the agenda, yes.
Yes.
Just wanna make sure.
Good evening, board, Madam Mayor. So I just.
Name, sorry, name and address for the record.
Sorry, my bad. Matthew Maverick, 517 Dunn Ranch Road. So I guess I was just a little concerned about the sewer mapping and how much money that we expended in the past to go through, to look camera and detail it so that it can be used in the future, and now we have to expend more money because it's not, you can't accept the data that was back then. So if we're expending, I just think we need to be a little bit more prudent with the money when it comes to that, because we've already been there, done that, it should have been done. And here we are, like, reinventing the wheel, having to do it again. And it's more money going out that the taxpayers have to put out. And we have a lot of seniors in the community that are on a fixed income, so I think it's kind of an injustice to that. So I just wanted to speak to that.
Anyone else? Did the board get a chance to look at the May 2022 disbursements?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to accept the May disbursements as presented by the Deputy Finance Director.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Aw.
Yay.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to our staff report regarding the Bayfield East intersection.
I'll turn that over to Community Development Director Killian.
Good evening again. So this item was in front of you in February. Town staff came to the Board of Trustees and asked if we could take the lead on submitting the access permit for the Bayfield East intersection. Since that discussion, we have had other discussions with both the developers of Bayfield East as well as the 2107 Bayfield Parkway. And they have been paying SEH Engineering to get plans to approximately 30% design for the intersection, as well as other work that they spent some time and money on over the last couple years to break the A-line of that, for that intersection to move forward, as well as right-of-way, working with the school district. And so at this point, they've asked that the town step in and because this is a town issue, this is a town project that will benefit a lot more than just those two developers. And so the town did receive $500,000 from the school district when they built the secondary school to use towards the Bayfield East intersection. And we would like to use part of that money to continue to pay SEH to get the design plans for the intersection to 60%, which is where we believe we will be at a point where we can look for grant funding to help pay for the rest of the design work, as well as future grant funding or CDOT funding to help with the construction of the intersection. So at this point in time, what we're asking the board tonight is to grant town approval, and we do have a resolution for you, but to grant town staff the ability to submit the access permit with the attached traffic study that both the developers did pay SEH to complete, as well as set aside $148,980 from that $500,000 we have in the account for the Bayfield East intersection to have SEH complete the design work to 60%. So that would be task 1, 3, 5, and the expenses from the attached scope that we receive from SEH. And then at a future date, we'll come back and have the discussion with you about where getting to the 100% designs and what funding we see available out there. I want to be conservative of that $500,000, knowing that we'll have a $350,000 approximately left that we may need to have grant matching when we look for grants. And so that's our proposal for the next phase. But this first phase would be to submit the access permit as well as the appropriation of the $148,000 to get the design work to 60%. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And the attachments, you do have the access permit, the traffic study, SEH's scope, as well as timeline, which we'll continue to work with them on the timeline. I think there needs to be some adjustments to that, which could shorten the need for meetings. And then also the resolution 524 as all of your attachments. So I can answer any questions that you have of staff. And I do have SEH present on Zoom, as well as Derek McCoy here, if you have any questions on what the developers have done so far, and where we're picking up from there. And then Philip with SEH, if you have any technical questions on the scope for the project.
Questions, comments?
I appreciate the consideration that we should be a little conservative based on needing to do those matches, so thank you for thinking.
All right, if there's no other comments or questions, I will move on to Resolution 524. Oh, yes.
I just really want to thank the town and Nicole specifically for taking the lead in this deal. CDOT really wants the town to be the applicant, and I think that there's enough progress in the works that hopefully the town will be made whole in the end, for sure. It all started back in 2016 when the owners of Bayfield East and Lee McCutcheon donated the land for the extension of the road up to the school and help the school get their bond issue done and finance the new school. So that's where this all kind of kicked off way back in 16. And today, I just wanted to let you guys know that, it's been a cooperative effort of all the parties, Lee McCutcheon at Evening's Porch, the Bayfield East group, Desiree Lee and Frank McCauley, the school district, Hal Bayfield, obviously. Russell Engineering has done some pro bono work, and then the Economic Alliance has all been working on this since 2016. To date, just so you guys know, to get the design to 30%, three of those parties have contributed about $100,000 in real money. That's Lee McCutcheon, Bayfield East, and Russell Engineering. Lee put up $18,000 to get things started, and that's really what started it all in 16 along with the school. Bayfield East put up $78,000 today. So as you guys know, we got annexation approved the other day, and this will allow us to keep moving forward. And if you guys have questions of us, ask me now.
Thank you for that background.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we will move on to Resolution 524, submittal of the Bayfield East intersection access permit to CDOT.
So,
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 524, approving the submittal of the Bayfield East intersection access permit to CDOT, and approving the appropriation of $148,980 to complete the 60% engineering designs.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Awe.
Yay?
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, moving on to our 2023 budget proposed meeting schedule.
Yes, so believe it or not, we're going to finish our audit next month, or this month, hopefully, and start on budget for 2023. So I have the schedule before you. We're looking at 3 Mondays. That'd be Monday, July 25th, August 22nd, and September 26th, and those will be 6:30 p.m. meetings. I've tried to outline kind of, in general, where we would go. So we are going to have the park master plan on that first Monday, 26th meeting, along with the 2022 goals, to have you review those, and then draft your 2023 goals. And then capital improvements, this is kind of the format that we try to get into to kind of do some of these more complicated things kind of at a meeting by themselves. During the scheduled at your September 6th meeting, which is directly after Labor Day, we would have a work session just before the regular meeting, basically to kind of any outstanding issues. So sometimes you go home and you think about it and you think, well, maybe this is not the direction I want to go. The last time that we had this meeting, the board decided to prioritize their goals instead of just having them lumped in a list. So, you know, it's still the budget that the board basically approves. So we want to make sure we give you chances to review all of these things separately. Department operations combined with capital and labor expenditures. So we'll go through some of the, kind of put them all together. We'll probably be able to see the revenue at the same time. And then Thursday, there won't be a meeting, Thursday, October 13th. We'll just make sure that the final draft is out to the public and out to the Board of Trustees. There'll be a public hearing on November 1st. There's also the election, a coordinated election by the county. They have, there's a polling place here at Town Hall. We have moved upstairs on November 1st, but we can always reschedule to the senior center that evening, you know, if we think we need more space. Unfortunately, I think what sometimes can be a little frustrating is that people don't show up to the public hearing and then want to make changes to the budget or don't like the way we're spending money as time goes by. So we want to make sure there's plenty of room, plenty of time for people to speak regarding any. I always say a public hearing is to hear the public regarding anything that's in the budget. And then Tuesday, November 15th would be the scheduled action. You do have to adopt something before the 15th of December because you have to adopt a resolution regarding the mill levy. So you can table it if you decide to the first December meeting. But I would suggest that you know it takes some work, and I'm more than happy to give you all the papers. You know, sometimes there's about 100 pages in the budget document to go through, but it's important to keep you apprised exactly where we're going. You know, revenue, and a lot of times, especially for newer trustees, you know, it's estimated. We estimate the best that we can. And you'll also be looking at utility rates, increased utility rates. We do know that GFL sent us a increase for trash pickup, March or April? And I notified them that we would reject that immediately because they're supposed to send it to the board 90 days in advance. So I'm guessing you're going to see a change because they have not changed it for 3 years now. Or excuse me, 2020, 2021, and 2022 have all been the same rate. So it's likely you're going to see an increase for 2023. And we are also working with some of the new utility rates, the way they're set up, to make sure that those accounts that are bigger users or have a lift station or are outside of town are paying their fair share. And so that'll be a little bit easier to see as we look at all those numbers and make those suggestions. I always state, and I'll say it probably many times, that if you decide that you don't want to raise utility rates for whatever reason, there's going to be a time where you may get behind and may have to catch up to basically provide enough revenue to cover the operations in your water and wastewater. So you have, right now we have the ARPA money that we're going to use regarding some 2 major capital improvements for the sewer plant. But there's going to be a time when those ARPA funds are not there, so.
Any questions, thoughts, comments?
We'll start getting it scheduled, and we'll kind of work with November 1st with the county clerk and recorder, so.
My only question would be the July 25th for the parks plan, because I kind of doubt that we're going to have somebody hired and up to speed.
You're correct.
Yeah.
But what we wanted to do is basically find out where you're at. Region 9 has hired a grant writer. And so I think it would be really important that we don't have to redesign the park plan unless you decide to do that. I think what we need to do is determine, we'll have some information regarding the school district property and where their board would like to go. If we talked to Leon today, the school superintendent, you know, these are things that he didn't even know about. So he's discovering the property that the school owns. So hopefully we'll have a little more information and decide where you want to go. You want to start now because it may take, 5 to 7 years to get to that beautiful plan that you saw, or longer than that, to get it going.
All right, we'll move on to the salary information.
Well, the salary information is about as best as I could do with only 4 communities responding. Ophir is a very small town. There's only one part-time employee, and that's the town manager. So
That was easier to respond.
So we're going to spend a little bit more time trying to get better information from more municipalities our size. They may not be Southwest Colorado communities. Leadville is doing their salary survey, a professional survey, and they said they would share it with the municipal managers. And Archuleta County, I participated in their salary survey, so we'll get that information. Leadville is a small town, somewhat impacted by tourism in certain times of the year. They're growing, they have housing issues, but they don't necessarily have a Durango or a Grand Junction or a Gunnison right outside of their borders. So basically looking at municipalities in the 2,000 to 4,000 range to get a little more information as we go along. But it seems clear that we have some that are probably not at market, and I know that we've made some staffing changes. But the one that I saw immediately was a finance director, and granted, we begged her to take the job, but she is doing an awesome job where she's at. So we want to make sure that we're compensating her correctly, or that position correctly. The public works director, the marshal, the sergeant, Parks and Recreation director, and the park manager. Just the little information. There's 300 plus pages of CMLs, salary surveys, and the tough part is kind of matching those skills, because in smaller towns typically you have more duties than you would in some of those that they're identifying. So anyway.
Katie, we did a salary survey last year too?
No.
No, okay.
I'm not aware that there's ever, that I can find any salary survey in the last, since the Cathcart started here, so.
Okay, now I just remember a lot of talk about making sure that the staff are at the appropriate pay, but. so I
Salary,
thought-
we did a wage scale.
A wage scale,
Which you
okay,
want to
thank
make
you.
sure that you have a wage scale, because it is required for advertising in the state of Colorado, but other than that,
Okay. I just didn't want you to feel like you have to, if you were doing that, doing it every year, because
No.
I don't know that it's an annual process.
When I was with Grand Lake, Employers Council was also a vendor for Grand Lake. They were going to charge about $36,000 for a much smaller staff, and there's still a lot of work on staff's side to do that. So just to give you an idea of what it could cost.
All right, we good? We'll move on to our senior center discussion. Kat, you're up.
Well, I just want to say that after reviewing the IGA draft, I think it's a wonderful start, and it's a great commitment by our town to meet the seniors' needs. And it is my hope that by this agreement, we can and will take care of the seniors. So I'd like to thank all the people that worked on it, and I know that a lot of work went into it after I did my own research and talked to Matt Solta and whatnot. So thanks for the effort in putting this together.
Hello, I'm Troy Ludwig. 9205 County Road 521. copy of the draft, and there are a few tweaks that we've considered, but we will be discussing that probably the 13th of June. But all in all, I think it covers about everything.
Did you go ahead and submit your ideas for the tweaks? Do you want to give us that? I'll look at that ahead of time. Okay.
I will be meeting with the seniors and trustee Zazzaro on Wednesday.
Oh.
So tomorrow and the following Wednesday.
Perfect.
So we can do that.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kate.
Anybody else?
She's like, don't look at me.
All right, Katie, is there anything you wanted to follow up?
I don't have anything to follow up with. This is review. I've been very clear with the seniors. This is going to be in flux until it's probably on the agenda for the 20th of June. But I certainly want to hear them out tomorrow. We'll hear them out a week from tomorrow. Just find out what tweaks they have interest in. You know, the resolution is not something the county would adopt, but it's basically providing documentation of where we think we should go. I had a good talk with J.D. Burke and about, you know, the senior resources that are available, and in the the meeting that we had with senior services staff for La Plata County. You know, I think there's a lot of services that have just not been used to their full options. So I think those are things that we'd just like to explore a little bit more. There are some things that we may, you know, ask the seniors to not do. I think that there's some things that we've kind of seen that people can't wait to get their advertisement with, you know, dog walking and you know, new roofing and siding and everything that they want to bring to the senior center. So there's some things we want to make sure of, that the seniors are protected from people that are just looking to make a buck and walk out of town. So, you know, and I think that, you know, I'm committed to going down there twice a month and just being there if they have any issues. I think what maybe they didn't feel comfortable contacting me, but really that's what I'm there for. It's much easier for me to deal with something that day, that hour, versus a month later. So hopefully we can get there.
Well, I look forward to hearing updates from the seniors, and I look forward to being in a room with the county commissioners Monday, so I think it'll be a very productive discussion. Are we good on senior center discussion? We'll be revisiting this. All right, we're moving on to our action agenda. Do we have any general public input for items 6A through E on the agenda? All right, moving on. July 5th, cancellation of meeting.
So you have the authority to cancel that meeting based on the new, this was adopted actually in 2020, the section 2-1. So unless 3 trustees would like to schedule a meeting, that's.
No, we had that discussion and I went ahead and made the call, so we can move on from there. Employee holidays.
Well, I don't typically like to do this, but on the other hand, we have a lot of staff that help on July 4th. They are paid not just overtime, but they're paid holiday time for working that day. And also department directors, not myself, but other department directors are also paid an additional stipend for their assistance on those because they're typically salary. But if we had a holiday where employees worked and then they worked the next day on the 5th, before you know it, we get to the end of the week and we have overtime on top of holiday pay. So it's really a wash for most employees except for the marshal's office. And there are certain things that we're required to do for para that we will pay really all employee or deputies basically that additional holiday day, whether they work that or not. So that's the only thing that would cost you a little bit more, but keep in mind that if you had all these employees work the 4th, the 5th, the rest of the week, then you also have that extra overtime. So this is your decision as a board.
I mean, I don't think I have to tell you guys how much these departments, what they're doing for the holiday. So I would entertain a motion to approve the additional holiday on July 5th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
So what if we don't have a 4th of July party one year? Do we just have two, like a Thanksgiving, like how you have that day off and then you have the Friday off too? Or would it be different if there was
This
no?
is just for these next 2 years.
Okay.
Only because we have a Monday, 4th of July. Next year, we have a Tuesday, July 4th. Then there's leap year, so you're going to have the Thursday will be the July 4th. And but you can make those decisions at the time. It's
Okay, no,
a little bit
just-
different.
Yeah,
curious.
this current motion is just for this year.
Just
so-
for this year, okay.
Yeah.
And we do have a motion and a second. And roll call.
Trustee Aw.
Yay.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
And so now we're looking at the same issue in 2023, closing for the July 3rd, day before.
Yeah, this is just the day before. It would be a holiday, a paid holiday for employees. Then they were going to come to work on the actual holiday. Then you're going to pay them holiday time. Almost the same circumstance. Like Trustee Cesaro pointed out, if you decide to do this every year, that's certainly your option. I just wanted to cover the next two so we can kind of plan for next year. And keep in mind that 4th of July is all in flux. I think we've gotten better at being a team attacking this. I mean, it is a big project. Becky, you have to, how she did this by herself, I don't know. But there's also some changes. We've made a lot of changes after COVID. We've made some security changes. It's all about public safety. And I know not everything is popular, but we're not going to make concessions on public safety.
I'll make a motion to approve an additional holiday in 2023 on July 3rd.
I second it.
All right, roll call.
Trustee Aw.
Yay.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, we're looking at our other national and state holiday observances.
These are new observances. Juneteenth is typically the 19th of June. This year is being observed on the 20th of June. Mother Cabrini Day is being observed by the state of Colorado. That is not a federal holiday. That's going to be observed on October 3rd, 2022. And in a lot of ways, the state adopted this one over Columbus Day, which most communities have started celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day. But these are coming up, so I thought this is a good discussion period. I'm not asking for your action on either one of these, but just some discussion of where you believe these should be.
I remember when I worked for the Hyatt, we were able to select our holidays because there were some folks who would celebrate Hanukkah, there were some that would celebrate Christmas.
Floating holiday.
Yeah,
Floating.
so it would be, you'd have to choose at the beginning of the year so that management could make sure that there was adequate staff coverage on those days. But I know that that could be an option if we weren't adding in, because this could, if we say, yes, let's observe both of these plus these 4th of July, so that's 3 additional holidays, and I would want to see how that impacts the budget before agreeing to that much holiday. I'm all for holiday that's paid for when I'm an employee.
So keep in mind that a holiday pay is, unless you work the day, and like I said, it's a little different for the deputies because of para. But other than that, it basically doesn't change your budget. It just changes our work.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
in other words, our service to the community is a day less. And I'm not suggesting you go to add 3 extra holidays, but I think it'd be a good discussion if you decide to add a floating holiday, that, people have those choices, but they would still have to be managed by supervisors.
Do you think that having additional holidays would be something that would attract people to want to be employed by the town of Bayfield? Because I know sometimes that's considered part of the benefits package.
That
having
is a
those
benefit.
paid holidays.
And you have department directors that maybe can answer that better than I can.
Well, one thing that I was gonna state is that we compete with the tribe a lot, and the tribe already gives these holidays. So I see that as a big benefit, really.
How many holidays are we currently giving?
I
Do
know
we
you're
know?
going to ask me that.
You couldn't bring up holidays and not ask that question.
Katie, if we follow the county, they do 12.
11 plus two half-a-days. So a half a day before Christmas and a half a day before
That's 12.
New Year's Day.
So 12.
All total.
And I'm curious too, what is the typical vacation? I mean, is it all the same or is years of service?
Years of service.
Years of service? Okay. Where do we start at? 2?
You
I'm just
mean-
trying to
no,
think of
you
whether or
mean
not we're
vacation
competitive.
days?
Yeah.
Vacation days.
Paycheck.
Oh, gosh. Is it?
They accrue 3.7 hours every pay period.
And then it goes up to like 5.5.
You don't want to stay longer?
I mean, I think it's attractive for, being competitive out there in the market and that sort of thing, but I like it better as a floating holiday versus, especially when you get to state holidays, just because they're not as recognized.
This may be a dumb, is Columbus Day a paid holiday now?
No.
Are there federal holidays that we are not recognizing as the town?
Columbus Day and Juneteenth.
Okay.
I mean, obviously this year Juneteenth is,
Brand new.
well,
Yeah.
and we have a meeting, so
Yeah,
we're gonna be here anyway. So I think maybe we can revisit this or talk about having a floating holiday for next year.
So we updated our personnel handbook 2 years ago. There's just a couple minor things that we need to update it again. There's no immediate needs. You may remember we did have one resolution that you adopted regarding para because we did not necessarily address para FPPA and the deputies. So we made sure we made that change. And so that's the only thing that we've changed, but there's just a couple other minor things that we've seen, and that happens. So I just wanted to have this discussion, and
I mean, I like having the option for employees. I like, I also like to maybe be on the forefront of this as well. If we can, show that we're creating diversity and accepting diversity in our community, that's super important to me as well. So I don't know what the answer is to that.
I just
But-
did a quick Google, and there's 11 federal holidays. And I
There used
don't
to be
know if
10.
that includes Juneteenth. I'm not seeing
The
Juneteenth.
state just adopted Juneteenth, but
Sure.
yeah, they just recently adopted. Keep in mind that we celebrate Friday after Thanksgiving as a holiday, and that's not a federal holiday.
We traded Columbus Day to them.
Makes sense. I would do the same.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. Who wants to work after you ate all that food? Or cooked it?
So I'm seeing, so there's New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr., Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day.
11. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so
Banks used to give 10 holidays. Now we get 11.
11, okay.
We're federal.
And I know the county also does a New Year's Eve and a Christmas Eve and a Thanksgiving day after Thanksgiving, and they don't do a Columbus Day, because I get all
And I
those days
think
off.
they do a day after Christmas, don't they do a?
They do a Christmas Eve and a Christmas Day.
They do some extra holidays that
Yeah.
we were doing some coordination regarding opening town hall.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, to me, it's a federal holiday, and, I mean, we're following just about every other federal holiday, so I think it's something that, I mean, if it's a float day, or if now it's a holiday, and we're closed that day. Like, if we want to adopt that, I'd be for it. I don't see a reason not to. Now, the
So-
Cabrini Day being a Colorado holiday might be something more
Floating.
up for
Floating.
discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked places where you could have a floating day and you could use it for your birthday or anything else you wanted to use your floating holiday for.
Right.
Mental health day.
I hate my job day.
It's all kumbaya here.
Use sick days for that.
Oh, is that what the sick days are
Yeah.
for? Sorry.
So, I mean, when would we have to make a decision on this? I mean,
Just all the things we've got coming up, I would probably just say August or September when we're actually talking about labor expenses and things like that. 4th of July just seemed to be something we needed to address immediately.
I mean, this might be a good, when we're socializing at CML, to talk about, to other communities about
Yeah.
what they're doing, so maybe we could come back with some info.
Yeah, I was asking those same questions just because I have a regularly scheduled meeting with elected officials and town managers on the new holiday, and I was like, are you guys available? Like, what does that look like? I think it's so new that I don't think it's something that we would be enacting now, but maybe for the
In a week.
2023 calendar.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it might be worth looking at what the county does if we're trying to coordinate services here that the county's providing. Why not be on the same holiday schedule?
Or better.
Yeah, we can always improve
Sorry.
upon.
Not sorry.
Yeah. Again, if we're competing for jobs that are in the southwest region and in the county, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say we should look at matching their, to have a discussion about matching
Absolutely.
their holidays.
Especially because it doesn't cost us anything. We're already
No.
paying it regardless.
Yeah, sorry,
It's
that
just
was
a matter of work.
Stupid statement I made earlier.
No, you're good.
The budget, duh. Look at the
But
workload.
it just, to me, those are the kind of benefits, like if you could give a benefit, those
Yeah.
are the ones you want to do because it doesn't really cost anything to do it, so.
Yeah, and you might have like spouses who, one works for the county and one works for the town, and now they can have the same day off.
That too.
Even though it's like 3 days maybe that would overlap now.
So what I'm gonna do is maybe just call them 2 floating diversity holidays, and they choose what they believe in. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That's just a suggestion.
I like
When
it.
it actually
Yeah.
comes to adoption, there'll be probably a lot more discussions.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just note that they need to make that decision at the beginning of the year so that you know how many people are gonna be, it's not like a month of.
I think our supervisors do a really good job
Yeah.
of making sure that we're staffed in certain places. It's usually town hall that closes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 81122 Day, August 11th, 2022. We were talking about having a little celebration for Bayfield.
I like it, that's a great idea.
it's
It's very creative.
It is the Thursday. I mean, it's once in a lifetime. I think we have to capitalize on that. I think it's a great
Yeah.
marketing tool and a great opportunity there. But I just want to kind of feel it out about what kind of party are we talking about. I mean, we've talked about doing an ice cream social at the park, maybe doing grill up some hot dogs, just invite the whole community, just kind of depending on what would you guys like to see?
Yes, yes, and yes.
All the things?
Like ice cream, hot dogs, community, forgot the
And-
beer.
Well, there won't be beer. Well, there's
Board
plenty
of
of restaurants
Trustees dunk
downtown.
tank, I think.
Huh?
Dunk tank.
A dunk tank? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I dunk your favorite elected official.
Oh, didn't
I'll
you
get
know
my
I was
snorkel.
resigning before then?
Get a snorkel.
I have one you could borrow.
Yeah, I'm in huge favor of this. So I think it's
Oh, it sounds fun.
we'll need to budget for this, and we'll kind of, I think we can organize something and stick to a budget, but, I mean, I think to throw a good party for the community, we're gonna need a little bit of money for the event, but I think it could be some really great publicity and,
That want to be out there.
So food or ice cream? Maybe we'll start there. Or both.
Do both, and they pay for it to get it.
well, I don't know that, that's the point. I mean, we can,
Work up some?
I mean, if we kept it simple, like hot dogs and chips, and then
Yeah.
maybe asked if the gal can cruise her
little
ice cream truck, and then
sandwiches.
people can buy the ice cream, or we buy the first
Or you just buy all the
500,
ice cream
yeah,
and
whatever.
just haul it here.
Yeah,
Yeah, little ice cream sandwiches
Yeah.
or something. Get the push pops.
and,
Yeah, I think free event.
or we were talking about, maybe trying to get one of those blow-up movie things and have a movie in the park.
That'd be cool.
But I don't know who does that. I don't know if there's a vendor.
There are vendors, and, well, the movie you get typically, you may have to pay copyright, but we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, we can work on this and bring it back, but I think tonight
Just
we
want to
need
make
to
sure
kind of
that
look
you
at a
want to spend
budget.
money.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at for hot dogs and,
I think for the whole event, we're probably looking closer to $5,000.
I was thinking
Yeah.
the same.
And you throw in a movie, then you're looking for a little bit more money.
Yeah.
And you can have popcorn in a movie, you have a block party only a week
A
later.
week after.
We should do a parade down Mill Street.
No. Are you volunteering? So now, Becky, you get to volunteer for all this stuff instead of getting paid for it, right?
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if it's gonna be for the whole 81122, I think we have to really encourage people to carpool, to ride their bikes, to walk downtown, and there will be softball going on, men's softball league, so I think maybe it's something that we'll have to do at Eagle, but we'll figure out the details, but.
So could you just reserve the park for us before you leave?
Before you leave us? Okay. So, I mean, are you comfortable with a number of 5,000
Yeah.
To start with.
to start with? Yeah.
Do you need any kind of
Yeah, we
motion?
we need a motion to approve.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a budget of $5,000 for 81122 event on August
11,
11th.
22.
I second.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Aw.
Yay.
Trustee Dallison.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
And Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, upcoming meetings. You
Go
have
from
your,
party to meetings.
yeah, that's what we do. Don't forget, you have your breakfast menu if you're coming to the joint work session with the Board of County Commissioners, June 13th, 7:30. We have our Planning Commission meeting, 14th. Our meeting, Monday, the 20th. That has been moved. And then, Katie, did you want to update on 4th of July?
Well, we are going to have our last meeting before the block party on this Friday, kind of make sure that we're all on the same page. And then Becky will have her other staff members there because we do know we need to still be a team and make sure everybody's on the same page. So we'll get a flyer out for 4th of July. We do have sponsors. Becky has been collecting those. The yard sale addresses a little bit more than I thought they would be, but I was happy to see it seemed to be a very popular event.
yeah.
So in the 2 years I've been here, I have not seen that, so it was really great. And we're looking forward to, it will be a lot the same as last year. However, the parade will be a lot shorter. And we're getting vendors in the park, so anyway, got the band. We're waiting for the certificates for block party and 4th of July for the beer garden.
Did you say that the parade will be shorter this year?
Yeah,
this
we're
year?
going to go back to the original route because we had
Oh,
COVID.
okay.
We had to spread it out
Ah, okay,
and make
okay.
it longer
I
because
thought you
of-
meant like way less submissions. And I
No.
was like,
No.
"Ooh, what happened?"
No, just
They go around 10 times.
the original,
It was too far to walk.
the original
All right,
route.
yeah, that is a long,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
And it's going to, it's going to 10:30 because we're not conflicted with the churches on Mill
Churches
Street.
anymore,
So
yeah.
it will be going back to somewhat of
Good.
normalcy.
And I do have a tree board agenda for this Thursday, if anybody's interested. I don't have a liaison, so if anybody's interested, I have it, and I'll be more than happy to share it.
All right. We have anything else to
Sorry, I'm
add?
busy hanging out with Phyllis.
All right, anything else to add?
I did like Brian's comment about the public being able to come in and ask questions and get answers. I think that's really frustrating from the public's standpoint, and I think that's a very good point that he made.
It's a good point, but be mindful of the open meetings law whereby it's very, when you announce a meeting, you have to agendize the meeting. You have to set forth exactly what you're going to be talking about. So to the extent that people come in and start bringing up issues, you are violating the open meetings law because there are other people who may have wanted to participate in that discussion that you're having. Quite often with most public entities, when people have questions, they address them to staff during the week, so that your staff can then work to collate, maybe answer those questions, and have the avoidance, or avoid the prospect of you having to answer questions on the fly from the dais, or making decisions that you all haven't collectively discussed appropriately. So I would caution you against having open questions and open meetings in violation of the open meetings law.
It also creates just a back and forth where you didn't necessarily get to think through what you actually wanted to say and exactly what the process is for that kind of thing. And a lot of the times the commenters that are coming in to lash at you. And
there's a
so
lot- it takes the
creates-
emotion out of it,
yeah,
too.
it just takes a lot
It's
of,
a micromanagement situation as well. Again, you have staff who is charged with performing a lot of the functions on behalf of the town. You are the policymakers, and you're not here to micromanage and so forth. So it really prevents that sort of problem.
And Tom, I think it was something that really wasn't enforced and it was pretty lax on the previous board. So it was a huge adjustment for me. I was used to being able to fire back and have that discussion. I
When
mean,
I started coming to meetings a year ago, I was like, they're not taking questions.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So
So-
We've always done that.
right, it's just, yeah, we just decided collectively to
So-
move on.
I've never
And-
heard that answer before.
So any citizen that would like to ask questions and have them answered by the board can come to me and we'll put it on the agenda. And keep in mind that it's a process that, you know, those questions could be answered by staff, and we could even respond to them, because you get my recommendations and my notes, and a lot of the other department heads, if they're giving us something the other department heads, directors can answer, well, we can probably tell you what our answer is, and you can either verify it or contradict it. I mean, that's up to you. But if it's on the agenda, Bob Winterstrom, he wanted something on the agenda. I said, just send me something, so I know what's on the agenda. And he got on the agenda. That's how easy it is. So I can certainly contact Brian and copy Nicole and let him know that that's how he can do that.
And Katie and I meet pretty regularly, so I mean, if there's times where if you have a question, you can always text me or call me, and I can get those. I mean, if it's something that needs to go on the agenda, then I'll come in and present that to Katie. If it's something that's a quick answer that I can get for you, or what, you know,
Right.
or she's got an open door, you can always call ahead, so,
Okay.
yeah. We're just trying to stay focused.
So would it be wise to maybe, we can let Brian Blanchard know this, but is it something that maybe we should comment on or somehow let others know? I know I'm I knew what Michael was talking about, because we do the same thing at our Board of Health meetings, and I understand why we do it for my other job, so I understand why we do it here, but I'm guessing a lot of the public don't understand that and probably think that we're being standoffish. However, we're trying to follow.
Or ignoring them.
Yeah, or just, not answering
up
their
ignoring
questions.
them.
So is there a way that we can include the why we are doing it this way somehow or somewhere?
Well, I mean, maybe we could just, at the beginning of, okay, we're opening up to public to make their comments, just, be aware that we won't comment back because X, Y, Z. I mean, it could be as simple as that. If you start doing that on the regular, then they'll understand.
Yeah, that's stated already to people. And again, it's really an open meetings law and policy that allows people to participate. That's the reason for the open meetings law, so that select people can't come in and ambush a meeting with their particular item, and other people who might have been interested didn't know that was going to be discussed. So it's important that matters that are going to be discussed get on the agenda at least 24 hours in advance, so that the public has an understanding of what is to be discussed, so that they can participate.
Yeah.
And there are certain people who, may want to, again, not have that publicized. They want to come in, they want to get direct answers from you guys, that other people might have been very interested in participating. So it's really the public process, it's due process.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. I'm just saying that I think we
They don't
probably,
understand.
we have people who come in who don't know that, don't understand it, and they're not looking it up to be like, well, why is the board not answering my questions? They're thinking poorly of us when actually we're following the law, which it's for exactly what you said. So I'm just wondering how we
like
can.
you said, it's parliamentary. That's
Yeah,
what we
how can we educate the people who are coming in to know that's why we do this?
You can probably do a public service announcement. Just put
Okay.
it out on your website.
Yeah. And maybe just detail this conversation a little bit more on our minutes as well, just so that it's there for people to read at the very next meeting, that it's in the minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Put it in every time.
every single time.
Right,
Well,
anything else,
repetition
Dad?
gets through people's heads.
We'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting. It is 7:46.
Thank you.
Right, it's daylight still. What?
Right?
Don't speak, because we don't want to jinx ourselves for the next one.
Hey, Tim. I'll be to our county commissioner meeting a little late, because
Okay.
I can't drop off my kids still.
Drop off. Okay, we'll eat and delay it a little
But
bit.
I will be there.
Okay.
If for some reason I do not